When you're watching Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I have to say this movie is half and half for me. I really think that the concept and the idea of Ant-Man and the quantum realm and stuff like that, like, it's really cool that they get trapped down there or that they explore it, right? Like, the concept itself is not the bad part. And I think Paul Rudd does a great job as Ant-Man. I really like his abilities. I thought that the action and the choreography was unique. I liked the quantum realm, like what they did with it and them exploring down there and being trapped down there. I liked the villain of Kang and how everything is like all messed up because of him and Janet. Like it's good, okay? It's good, but then it gets to the other half where it's like, why did they do this? Or like, this is holding them back, or like, this is so stupid. Why are they doing this? You know what I mean? It's like those little mistakes throughout the movie, throughout like multiple scenes, multiple times. It just kind of is like, because they'll have like a really cool moment, or like they'll have like a really cool thing, and then they'll like throw in something stupid in there, or they'll add something that's like not necessary to the overall plot or story, and it just kind of feels like a waste. You know what I mean? Like Bill Murray is cool to see in the movie. Like, it's really cool that he's a part of the movie, all right? But he's there for like 2 minutes, threatens them, and then he just ends up dying anyways. Like, that didn't, like, nothing happened because of that. Like, he was just there to stall him, I guess. I don't know. It was just like, it felt like a big waste to like have him be in there for like 2 seconds and then get eaten and thrown out. Like, it just doesn't work for me. And those are the little mistakes, or like the little things that like mess me up. And now the big mistake throughout the whole movie, oh my gosh. This is the actress, she did what she could with what she was given, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was given this role, you know what I mean? Like, she worked on the script, you know what I mean? She worked with the script they gave her, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that she's a bad actress or nothing like that, but damn, dude, this girl, Cassie Lang, is the most annoying part of this whole movie. She just is so annoying, and she has nothing to back it up. Literally nothing. She's like, what, 15, 16 in this movie? She's already in jail. And you don't think that causes for alarm? And they wrote Scott Lang as such a like, his daughter's talking back to him, and he's like being all nice to her still. Like, no, I needed her to be like disciplined. I needed him to lay down the law, stomp his foot on her, break her legs, do something. You know what I mean? Like, she needed to be taught a lesson. And instead, all she got was cuddles and kisses. And it just felt like, what are we doing here? I was like, she doesn't get to talk to you like that, Ant-Man. Like, okay, I know it's a gag in the movie that like, Ant-Man can't shut up about how he saved the world. And yeah, I get it. That would be a little annoying, right? But he did save the world. All right? If it wasn't for him, they never would have gone to the quantum realm or figured out how to do time travel. Like, he saved the world. And that rat. Huge shout out to that rat, okay? But, and I also like that they made that book that he wrote, like, a real book. I don't know if, like, anybody actually bought it or read it, but, like, I don't know if that was just a gag, but, like, I thought that was funny. But I like it. I like how he's using his celebrity and superhero-dom to, like, create a good life for himself. Working at Baskin Robbins, doing promotions, being with Hope, and, like, going to meetings and parties. And all of that stuff is, like, extra, you know what I'm saying? It's like, is he supposed to be fighting bad guys, like, all of the time? You know what I mean? Like, he's living good, and he gets to be a dad to Cassie. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gets to, like, hang out with Cassie and be around her all of the time. Like, is that not the dream? Like, he's literally has a great job. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has, and it's not like he's stupid. It's not like he couldn't get a job. It's just that, like, people weren't hiring for, he has, like, a degree in electrical engineering or whatever it was, right? Like, he's smart, he's capable, he's like, he could definitely get a job, but like, They're just not hiring, and Baskin Robbins was hiring, right? Like, that's the thing, that's the difference, is that, like, Scott Lang isn't stupid. He's not like, a waste of time. It's more so like he's working with what he's got. And right now he's a superhero. You know what I'm saying? He had to break the law a few times, sure, but he's a hero nonetheless, okay? And Cassie's acting like he's just being some like, you don't want to put your life in danger to like help people you don't know? What are you talking about? That's literally she was like all up in his junk, just being like, oh yeah, you're going to parties and you're hanging out and not doing anything that's really mattering. You're not helping people, even though you saved the world and you fought with the Avengers multiple times. All right, you were there. You were there for them in Civil War. You fought against the Falcon at his Avengers base. You were there in Avengers Endgame. Like, come on now, and it feels like nothing he does is enough. It's like, yeah, there's always going to be problems in the world. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about that. But does that mean Tony Stark had to do everything all on his own? No. Does that mean that Captain America had to do everything all on his own? No, right? Like, you pick and choose your battles. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't help everybody. You can't, like, save everyone. You're only human. So, I don't know where she gets, like, the nerve or, like, any of the guts to act like she really acts the way that she does. Like, all right, she survived 5 years of the blip without her dad. I don't know if her mom was there or her stepdad. You know what I mean? Like, they don't show that, and they don't show the mom or the stepdad in this one. And you would think that with the stepdad being a police officer, he would be the one that bails her out of jail and then she gets in trouble, right? Like, it should have been like that, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, maybe the stepdad and Scott Lang, like, collude together to keep this out away from the mom, because the mom's the real trouble, you know what I mean? But he gets her out of jail, and then Scott Lang is, like, supposed to be the disciplinarian, but he doesn't discipline her. It bothers me so much in this movie that Cassie gets, like, all of these upgrades and all of these big things, and it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, I completely agree with her, or like, I'm on her side, and like, I get, like, helping people. That's definitely a plus, right? And I really like the idea of her trying to learn about the quantum realm, because she was inspired by her dad, and during the blip for like 5 years, all she could think about was like, how can I get my dad back? How can I, you know what I mean? Like, how can I reconnect with my father and with all of his friends? You know what I'm saying? And it does make sense that she would be curious about it, and that, I guess, Hope and Scott Pym would, or is it Hank Pym would, like, try to, like, help her out a little bit. You know what I mean? Learning about it and whatnot. I think that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I like that connection. But what I don't like is how they expect her to act like, oh, I'm the morally right person. It's like, you're just a kid. You don't know what you're doing here. And then she gets everybody in trouble, and they end up in the quantum realm. And then she's like, she's literally the cause of everything. And then she's still acting like, oh yeah, Dad? Oh, what, you don't care about these people when you're trying to get us home after the mistake that I caused? And Scott's like, I do care, but first I gotta get you home. We don't know how long we've been down here. It could have been 2 hours. It could have been 2 years. Think about what your mom would think. And then she's just like, oh yeah, well, you don't care about the suffering of these people down here. I didn't know they existed. I had no idea they existed until now. And he does care, but first he has to take care of his priority number one, you. Because you're down here. It's one thing to fight bad guys when it's just you. It's another when your family is right there, and they're in just as much danger, right? Cassie could die, and that would be on Scott. You know what I mean? It's so stupid that she's trying to be like the morally righteous one when she hasn't done anything, literally nothing. And in this movie, again, she does nothing. She does like maybe one thing in this whole movie, and that's like break out that prisoner girl to like start a revolution, and then she gets a message out, and that's it. That, and she created that little beacon to the quantum realm that sucked them all in there in the first place. That's it. That's all she's done. All right? And I can chalk that up to just Hank and Hope helping her out. It wasn't actually Cassie herself. So it's really, she pissed me off in this movie, I swear. I think the first time I watched it, I didn't really mind her all that much. I was like, she's just a kid. But in this movie, but this time around watching it, rewatching it, I'm just like, she sucks. She literally sucks. And throughout the whole movie, it just felt like she had no reason to be there. You know, she literally had no reason to be there other than to give Scott strength to push through and do what he needs to do. And it just felt so... It was really a huge drawback. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much of that is on the actress. You have to chalk that up to the script writers. You know, I doubt that the actress herself was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to disrespect my father in this scene just to throw in an ad lib in there. You know what I mean? She probably threw in like maybe some improv one-liners or some jokes or whatnot. But literal dialogue that's like acting morally righteous to her father, I feel like that was definitely in the script, and they forced her to say that. Like that was a non-negotiable for the script. But her herself, she was just kind of like, you know, threw in a couple of one-liners, a couple of jokes here and there, a couple of funny things, nothing too crazy, right? Like that's where she really shined the best. And I feel like there could have been a lot more comedic moments had she not been so like, you know what? You have to care about people, Scott. Dad, I'm so disappointed in you because you don't care about other people when you're literally caring about me and trying to protect me, and I feel like I don't need to be protected. I can take care of myself. And then I get my ass kicked every 2 seconds, and I don't really help in the fight, but I just fight anyways. It's so stupid. And how she also gets like just an Ant-Man suit is so stupid. She definitely shouldn't be ready for this. She's literally like 15, 16 years old. This makes no sense. And she's like shrinking cop cars. She's like doing all of this really messed up stuff. And you could blame it on the blip. 5 years is a long time by yourself. But again, I don't know what she was doing in that time, right? Like they make it seem like she was living all by herself, but she probably had her mom there. You know what I'm saying? She probably had her stepfather around, right? Like man, that was the huge downfall of this movie, was literally Cassie Lang. It just didn't work, like at all. Now, a huge bonus, all right? Now why it's half and half is because while Cassie Lang may suck, Kang the Conqueror, he was really good in this movie. Jonathan Majors did a great job with the character, you know what I'm saying? He was really something. I thought that his regality, and like the way that he played Kang, and like how he was kind of like obsessed with winning, or like just being this overall god or titan, or this really like all-powerful being, this conqueror. I think he really played that role really, really well. I really do think that he was such a great casting choice, you know what I'm saying? And he played the character so well, and he was so powerful and strong and capable. It's just really difficult for me to think about, like, you know, obviously the actor had his own personal problems he was dealing with, and, you know, it's disappointing to think about, like, oh man, what more he could have done, or what else he could have like tried for or appeared in, or what moving forward may or may not have looked like if he was like, obviously if he didn't go through what he went through. But you know, it is what it is, you know what I mean? I'll just say that. But anyways, his role in this movie, man, I thought he nailed it. I thought he did a really great job. I thought him and Janet's connection, being trapped in the quantum realm, was genuine. I really liked Michelle Pfeiffer's reaction to realizing who Kang really is, or what he's actually trying to do. I really enjoyed Kang's sincerity and his, like, you know, his his kindness towards Janet for helping him out, and then the turn to like, I'm getting out of here and I'm conquering this world as well. You know, destroying everything, doing whatever it takes to get what he wants. And also the intimidation that comes from him when he was intimidating Scott, when he was intimidating Cassie. Like, I felt all of it. Like, it could switch in a flip, you know what I'm saying? It's like, let me be clear. Let me say this again. You're going to help me. Otherwise, I'm going to kill your daughter. And it's this quietness to him, right? It's this, I don't have to shout because every word that I speak, no matter what volume or how high or how low it is, you're going to hear me because I'm just that powerful. And that's the cool thing about it. And that's the really dangerous people. You know what I mean? Like, he's that dangerous where it's like, oh snap, like you can't, you know, I don't need to shout or I don't need to raise my voice. Anytime when I speak or anytime when I talk to you, it's in a low tone because my word is going to be heard by force. You know what I'm saying? I really like that about the character. I thought that was a really cool choice. And again, the Kang is just like, he's ruthless, you know? Anything to get what he wants. You saw how he was treating MODOK and that's another takeaway, right? That's another on the bad half, you know what I'm saying? It's like MODOK was in there and I was genuinely interested to see what they would do with him. You know what I mean? I was definitely interested in seeing what they did with how Darren like evolved into this person and how he became this became MODOK and how he's like enjoying his life down in the quantum realm. You know, like I really thought that there was potential there, you know what I mean? And in the end they just made him kind of a gag character, kind of like a, you know, just nothing, just a kind of a nothing burger, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was kind of like a secondary villain, you know, he was a villain sidekick, you know what I mean? Sidekick villain. It was just, I don't know, it just didn't work. You know, it felt like a waste of like, because if he was the sole, because like, if you think about it, if he was like the sole kind of like villain in the movie, I think things might have played out differently, but it would have been a lot more interesting for him to be like the main villain, you know, of his own movie, as opposed to Kang being the main villain and him working under Kang and him kind of being sidelined, I guess. But in the end, it all kind of worked out, I suppose. It was kind of funny. It kind of not, you know, but in the end, I did like how he kind of like sort of changed his ways or realized that like he doesn't know who he is because he's just been following everybody else. He's just doesn't know who he is or what he can be or what's something about him that's like genuinely unique, you know? And I imagine that was difficult for him. He was in the shadow of Hank Pym. He was trying to like copy his work, right? And then sell it. And then he was down here and he was like, oh, this other person gives me purpose. So all I have to do is just follow what they say and what they do. And then he's like, well, without him, who am I? What do I really do? And then, you know, Cassie throws out a little joke about not being a dick and whatnot. And he follows through with that, you know? I think that's a nice thing. It's definitely a nice thing. I don't know what to tell you. I think that there's definitely a way things could have played out where he had like more chances to shine or like not just played or as a villain for comedic effect, you know? But anyways, I thought it was really cool that they brought him back. It was such a gruesome way that he died, you know, shrinking into his suit. Like, that was crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, that was a crazy death. And the fact that he lived it and is in the quantum realm, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good deal, you know what I mean? And by the end of this movie, he really does die, you know, which is sad. And even though he said he was like an Avenger, I'll give him like a 1 minute adventure. Like, he'll be a 1 minute Avenger. You know what I mean? He was an Avenger for 1 minute and then he died and then he just dies as Darren Cross, not as an Avenger. All right? He was a 1 minute Avenger, okay? Because he helped fight against Kang and whatnot. But that's it. All right? Anything after that, his death, like on his deathbed as he was dying, and like he was like telling everybody else, right? Like as he's alive, he's an Avenger. When he dies, he's just Darren Cross, all right? He's no honorary Avenger. And that's it. That's the end of the story for him. And I don't know. Maybe if he had lived, he could have helped out everybody that was like affected. I think that, well, no, he was just like, he was a killing machine. You know what I mean? He was terrorizing people. He had to die. If he lived, everybody would just hate him. So I feel like his death was like his only redemption that he could possibly get. So on the one hand, I would have liked to see what they did more with MODOK. But on the other hand, it's like, we saw it. It happened. It's over now. Let's let it go, huh? So that's it. But back to Kang and to Ant-Man. I really like the dynamic between these two. I really like how Kang held Cassie hostage. I really like how Ant-Man was like, all right, I'll do whatever you need just to protect my daughter. And I really liked how once he accomplished his goals and Kang just kept Cassie, like the fight that was going to brew, or like it was always going to be like this, you know what I mean? It was always going to be Ant-Man versus Kang in the end. And I remember when I was watching the trailer for this movie, the trailer was so deceiving. The trailer was so, it didn't make it seem comedic at all. It made it seem like so serious in tone. And then when you actually get to the film, it's like they have the comedic bits sprinkled in there throughout the movie. But it just, I don't know, it comes off a little bit too comedic for my taste. But it feels like a comedy movie with a sprinkle of seriousness in it, the action, the adventure, and whatnot. It just kind of like, the suspense gets taken out because everybody's trying to be funny and stuff, So, anyways, Ant-Man versus Kang, that was definitely, that's what we were waiting, that's what I was waiting the whole movie for. I was like, this is the good part. Like, this is really the best part of the movie, I think, where Ant-Man has to go up against Kang and stop him from, like, being free from the quantum realm. And I really liked the moment where, it was in the trailer, too. It was like, Ant-Man's holding back Kang, and Kang is, like, fighting Ant-Man. He breaks his helmet so that way Scott Lang can't shrink down or grow big anymore. And they're fighting hand to hand, and Scott is getting his ass kicked, but he's still trying to stop him. And then they're both being held down, and Scott's all bloody. And Kang's like, you thought you could win? And then he like beats him. And then Scott Lang's just like, I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. And so then like, that was the coolest line in the movie. I swear to you, if the movie was more of that moment, the build-up, the culmination of that build-up, of that line, of that sequence, of those events taking place, of Ant-Man versus Kang, like if all of the things that they ever did, you know what I mean, built up to that moment, to that fight, I think this movie would have been 10 times better. All right, without any of the, we have to help the quantum people, without any of the, well, helping the quantum people by fighting Kang, without any of the Janet, Hope, and Hank separated by Cassie and Scott. Like if they were all still together and Janet told them about Kang and they all were like, okay, how do we help out? How do we help out the quantum realm people against Kang the Conqueror, and everybody hates Janet, and they like all worked as a team instead of being split up for so long. I think that would have been a lot cooler for the movie, and then it's all this build up to get Kang, you know what I mean? And he leverages Cassie to get Scott to steal the thing. And yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Okay. Back to the fight itself. That was just a cool line. You know what I mean? I thought that Paul Rudd really delivered it, and when he delivered it, it made it seem so powerful, like, oh my gosh, Scott has to lose in order for everybody else to be safe. And I think it was during the fight, Scott breaks the teleportation, the multiverse core, and stops Kang from escaping, and then like he gets sucked into the core or whatever, and gets like even deeper in the quantum realm, or dies in the multiverse core, with help from Hope. And I thought that was a really good choice. Like Scott was going to sacrifice the portal and going back home to save everybody else, to save Cassie, and to keep Kang trapped in the quantum realm. And then Hope comes in and saves Scott. Like that was a really cool choice, and it was a really fun choice. That was like the first Ant-Man and the Wasp moment. And like the whole movie. What else do they do together in this movie? Other than just like being a couple. I mean, not really anything else other than that. And that just goes to show the bond that they have, you know what I mean? And that's why this movie needed more of that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Ant-Man and the Wasp are barely in the movie together. Like, they barely have any scenes with one another. They're split up for most of the movie. So it's like, it's kind of a big waste. Oh, wait, well, she does help him when she gets, like, the multiverse core. So that was also a big plus. You know what? It's fine. You know, I think it works out. I would have liked more scenes with them, but everybody worked out pretty well. And then, what else was there? And then it was, yeah, they defeat Kang, and then they're trapped in the quantum realm. And I thought that them being stuck there together and maybe helping some people out was a really big... Like, they're trapped down there, and they have to wait, I don't know how long, but they should have made it so where it's, like, not so instantaneous, you know what I'm saying? But, so that way Cassie actually, like, learns a lesson. She, like, trapped her dad down in the quantum realm, and Scott and Hope actually have, like, helped the people down there in the quantum realm, so that way, like, Scott's actually doing what his daughter wanted, and Hope can actually, like, do what she's doing up in the real world, in the surface, and on Earth, down there with them, and she can help everybody else out, along with all of the ants there to help build and fix things. So they could have done some real good if they were trapped in there for like a month, you know what I mean? And then Janet and Cassie and Hank developed a new portal to like get them out of there, and then they got out of there, you know what I mean? Like, it all happened too quick. I feel like they should have been trapped down there for a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying? So that way that, like, Cassie feels the full effects of, like, Dad saved my life, and I'm the reason he's trapped in there. And she learns her lesson. And then a month later, like, they come back, and she's like, I'm so sorry. You know, that way she gets, like, some actual, like, consequences. You know, in this movie, she doesn't face anything. What consequences does Cassie face for doing all of this? You know what I mean? Like, her dad being trapped in the quantum realm is a sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like, he did that to protect her. And it's a consequence for Cassie to realize that, like, her actions have consequences. But in this movie, she doesn't face any of them, so... yeah, this movie's half and half for me. It's half good, it's half bad. It's 50-50 for me. I like it, but not that much. And I just really wanted more scenes with Scott Lang and Kang the Conqueror. I feel like they could have... I don't know, there was still so much fight to be had, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, And everybody's clowning on Kang the Conqueror for being defeated by some ants. I mean, they were highly developed ants, and they're, like, gigantic, you know what I mean? It's like... That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me, because there was just an abundance of them, and they're like, they can lift 10 times their own weight. Like, they're ants. You know what I mean? They're bugs. It's crazy how, like, quickly they've developed. You know what I mean? It's insane. It's insane. So, anyways, when you're watching Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, oh, and genius title, Quantumania with Ant-Man and Quantumania. I thought that was genius as well. So cool. Cool title. A bit wasted on this movie, I think. Not as much of a mania as I would have liked, but it was cool nonetheless. Anyways, this movie, I felt like... I don't know. It's 50-50. It's half and half for me. No, this movie, I'm half and half for. But when you're watching Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, just be ready for when Ant-Man finally fights King. That's the moment. That's where the real juice is. That's the real meat. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the moment that, like, you realize that Ant-Man is a true hero, really about to sacrifice everything for his family, for his friends. Yeah, dude, that's the moment of the movie for me, I think. Everything else is kind of like background or fill up to like get to that point. And it's good. It's pretty good, but it's just that, like, you need to kind of let it go, I guess, or figure out how to move forward. I don't know. But anyways, when you're watching Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, get ready for that fight between Ant-Man and Kang. That's the best part of the movie, I think, or one of the best parts. And this movie has some good moments, you know? Shout out to the whole cast. Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Evangeline Lilly. I mean, Catherine Newton, she plays Cassie Lang. She worked with what she had. I'm not going to fault her completely on that one. It's got to be the writers as well. You know what I mean? And Paul Rudd steals the show in this movie. He really does. He does such a great job in this film and in playing Ant-Man and being a family man. I think that they made him pretty weak when it comes to his daughter, but strong for his daughter as well. So that's a good balance there. I don't know. I think Paul Rudd does a great job. So steals the show. It's really his movie. Him and Jonathan Majors do a great job in this movie. If it was literally more scenes with those two, like, confronting each other, man, this movie would have been so great. So great. But anyways, just be ready for that fight between them. That's my favorite part of the movie. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.